This is going to be a little bit of a different video than I have traditionally done on this channel. First off, recessions are not fun to go through, especially a recession where you can't go outside and enjoy everyday activities normally as one should or does. I'm going to take some things in this video here that you can do in the next couple weeks or months so you can put yourself not only in the best financial situation, but also some strategies that you can apply to every day to help you out with some self-improvement through this recession, quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. When a recession occurs, money and spending is cut in all categories of everyday life. It is essential and it is really important to make sure you're not only in a strong, but a smart financial position so you can get through these tough economic times. If you find any value in this video today, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe, because it really does help me create content in the future, such as this video today. Let's talk about the first thing here that is super basic, but a lot of people are still a little bit lost on it, and that's just gonna be cutting back on everyday expenses, you know, a reasonable amount. I know what you're saying, super obvious, and I completely get it, but many people are still a little bit lost because, you know, you're either ordering a bunch of packages through online orders or Amazon every single day, or if you're spending Uber Eats money or DoorDash money or, you know, Grubhub money every single night to order food because you're too lazy to cook, I highly would recommend turning it down a notch on your expenses, because people are still finding ways to spend more money now on things that they don't necessarily need than they did when they were able to go out. Recently, in the past couple weeks, 22 million people in the United States have filed for unemployment. If you still have your job during this whole epidemic, keep that thought in your head that job security is necessarily not too certain and could go out the window at any given moment. It might start possibly getting a little bit worse within the next couple weeks or a couple months. So whatever your job is or your business is, and if you believe you're an essential worker, you should start having some second thoughts in the upcoming couple weeks or months to determine how safe your income actually really is. You might see yourself losing some of your business or jobs due to people having to stop calling essential workers to get jobs done because they don't necessarily have the money to pay for them, such as you know, an electrician maybe, a plumber, a construction worker, or a landscaper. These essential jobs, people are just going to kind of take matters into their own hands to fix them or figure them out, because they're probably not going to have money due to them being laid off to pay you a salary to get those services or provide the work that they need done around the house. If you work for a huge company such as Facebook or Google, you might see a couple layoffs coming within the next week due to the company not having enough cash flow to provide to pay its workers. And this is actually going to be necessary for most of these big companies or tech companies to essentially survive through this economic crisis. This is why on my channel I preach saving money, and definitely it's a great time right now to start saving money, because you're going to need at least a 6-month emergency fund if you lose your job, so you can cover everyday expenses without having to necessarily work, because you already have that cushion of money provided that you previously saved up. If you're fortunate enough to still be working, definitely now is the time to start saving some money or building some sort of cushion or emergency fund so you can get through tough times if you were to lay off your job. I really talk about this a lot on my channel, and I've talked about saving money and building an emergency fund in a couple previous videos, but most Americans do not have enough money to cover $1,000 emergency, which is really kind of frightening, because if you think about it, in a lot of places, rent or your mortgage is a minimum of $1,000. So if you don't even have enough money to cover a month of rent, then it just really shows you into perspective how long you're going to be able to financially survive for if you do not have a proper emergency fund to take care of yourself for at least a couple months. Considering that many more people now have lost their jobs and don't necessarily have any type of savings or cushion of investments, it's definitely going to be a tougher situation for them. But luckily, we have a government that provides us with packages and economic help to help us kind of lift us up during these uncertain of economic times, because the government doesn't want to see you know, the working class or the middle class fail too much, especially during a crisis that's hitting this hard. Most most countries have actually rolled out some sort of stimulus or economic package to help out their citizens. So this kind of brings me into the second thing on this list, is to take advantage and apply for stimulus that the government is providing, such as the $1,200 check, and a lot of more stimulus packages and programs are going to be rolled out within the next couple months or weeks, maybe even all the way up until the end of 2020 and possibly even into 2021, depending on how long or how far this whole pandemic drags us out for. In the past, the government has provided a lot of programs to help us out, and a lot of people did not apply for those programs due to the belief that they would not be eligible for them. If you lost your job and you do not have any more healthcare due to you losing your job, what you can do is go on healthcare.gov so you can apply there and be covered through that. Don't be afraid to take advantage of everything the government is providing us, and don't be afraid to ask for help, because it doesn't matter if you're rich or if you're not in the best financial situation. We're all being hit pretty hard from everything that is going on right now. If you really want to capitalize on your personal growth through this recession, I would highly recommend taking the time to just benefit yourself by physically improving, and not only physically, but mentally as well, by expanding your knowledge by reading a couple more books. I know a lot of people may not like reading books. Trust me, I was the same way for, a couple years ago, but within the past 2 years, I have read many more books than I did in all my other years of growing up. And reading all these books, such as like this one right here, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. This book honestly was really, really phenomenal, because just a book like that could change your whole mindset or change your whole attitude about wanting to actually go after something or doing something that you've never been too motivated to do just because you thought it was a lot of work. But definitely reading books is another great way to personally and just kind of mentally improve yourself. At least take some time right now to sit down and ask yourself, if you continue doing the daily habits that you are currently doing now, are you going to like where you're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years? Because honestly, most of you probably won't. And that's just something to be a little bit concerned with. Really take the time to at least figure out who you are, or what you like doing, or what you're passionate about. Even though it sounds cliche, it's true, because if you keep telling yourself you don't have time to do something, you never really lack time, you just lack discipline. Personally, what I have been doing during this whole quarantine is just reading, getting schoolwork done, and creating more content such as this to do my best to educate and inform people on very important topics. Don't be discouraged when you're trying to learn or apply something new, because when you're starting off to do something, especially if it's brand new and you've never done it before, it is going to be a little bit difficult. But if there's something out there that you really want to do, now's a better time than ever to focus on it and go after what you really want. If you cannot come up with anything to do, I highly would recommend just using this time to focus strictly on your finances, because whether you believe that money doesn't matter, or money isn't important, or money's not going to provide you any happiness, yeah, you may be right, but we can all agree on that 99% of the things that we want to do in our everyday lives requires some type of money. So it is important to be financially educated, especially in the long term, if you're trying to build up any type of wealth and not have to rely on a traditional job just so you can earn money to do things that you've always wanted to do. So I would highly recommend taking this time just to learn how to budget, invest into some assets, or start that online or side business that you have been dying to do, just so you can be that much closer to achieving your financial goals. So we've thought about cutting back on expenses and bad spending habits. We've thought about actually using your time to get productive things done, and we've even talked about getting some assistance from the government. Now we can focus up on building long-term wealth, because it is a known fact that most wealth is created through recessions. This is due to the markets being down, even housing prices being down, which opens up a lot of opportunities in various markets to take a position in. I'm not saying exactly right now is the most perfect and amazing opportunity to invest. It's possible, but again, I'm not a professional or I'm not a financial advisor. Within the next couple weeks or months, there might be be some deals opening up on the markets. We can never be too sure yet. There is a couple different routes you can consider about going when it comes down to investing. It's all gonna come down on the risk you're gonna be willing to take for yourself. If you are a little bit older, such as nearing your retirement, I don't know if anyone that old is actually watching this video, or if you're an 18 or 20-year-old, it's going to be on different levels of risk that you're willing to take. If you're younger, such as that 20-year-old, you might want to take more risk, or you might think about taking more risk, because if you lose everything, it's not like you're never going to be able to financially recover from that, opposed to if you're 35 years old and you have 2 kids to take care of and a family. The last thing you might want to go do is use your whole college fund that you have saved up for your kids, or all of your family savings, to go buy some stocks just because you think, oh, right now is the best time, or right now is the bottom. Nobody never really knows where the bottom of stocks is going to be. It's just a long-term game, but you have to focus and manage the risk that you're willing to take, because some stocks or some investments might not go the direction that you hope they would. In a situation like that, you might not want to take that much risk, because at the end of the day, you still have kids and a family to provide for. This is why I always recommend that the best time to start investing or taking any type of risks is when you're younger, because if you're 18, 20, even 25 years old, you're naturally just gonna have way less obligations than you normally would as somebody that was an adult. Because if you play your cards right, by the time you're 30 or 35 years old, you're gonna have a lot more money than most people your age, due to the fact that you were just experienced and know how to manage risk. Investing and all of that is something that you don't learn by just reading or looking at. It's a skill that you actually learn hands-on. What I like to do during recessions is focus on big name companies or big name stocks that have survived previous economic tough times. What you can do is invest into blue chip stocks such as Home Depot, CVS. There's many more, but those 2 are just to name a few. You could also check out this entire video I made on necessarily recession-proof stocks, which are some of the more safer stocks that you could invest in that have held up over the past 50 years and are still around today. If you're looking to invest in the stock market, I definitely do have some recommendations. First off, just get educated and read as many books as possible. You could also watch some videos. I've made a couple previous videos on this channel about stock market investing, and I would highly recommend checking those out, just so you can at least get a good feel and a good amount of info and buy your first stock. Read books. Honestly, books are the best source of information. You're not going to get any better information otherwise than you would from reading a book. You can do ebooks, audiobooks, whatever you have to go with. You can find a lot of books about investing online. The truth is, I'm not going to be able to teach you guys how to invest in like a 10 or even a 15-minute YouTube video. It's just not necessarily how it works. You're actually going to have to do your own research and due diligence, because I'm not going to be able to hold your hand throughout the entire process, but I definitely will be able to steer you guys in the right direction. This is my best advice that I have to anyone watching this video on how to take advantage of a recession. We will come out of this at some point in time. No one necessarily knows how long until then, or how long that this is going to last for, but the best thing to do right now is just to make sure that you're not making illogical decisions based off emotions or based off fear. You might be scared about the current state of the market, and an illogical decision you can make is sell all your stocks at super low prices, opposed to making a logical decision and buying stocks while the prices were so low. This whole situation will be said and done with in a couple years, and we're gonna look back on it and just kind of think that we should have taken a better advantage of our time and the opportunities that the markets presented to us at that given moment. Our economy is gonna come back in a stronger position than it ever has been, because that's how the US economy has historically been. That's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys found any value in this video today, please make sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button to see future videos such as this one. Leave any questions or comments you have down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. I will see you guys later on this week in another video. Please make sure to stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day.